For the first time in history, we've got 4 generations working side by side, and in a few short years, we'll have 5 generations working together. So today, what we're going to do is we'll just focus on the 3 generations that are most represented in today's workplace, which are baby boomers, Generation X, and Generation Y. And what I'm going to show you in this webinar will help you understand the distinctions and the similarities between these 3 generations, and also enable you to adapt your approach so that you can motivate, retain, and bring out the best in your generationally diverse team. So let's go through some of my top tips to motivate and retain the different generations. So this is where, as a leader or someone running a business, you might want to think about what you can do here as I go through these. So let's have a look at my top tips to motivate and retain our Generation Y. So the first suggestion here is to let them know how what they do fits into the big picture. They need to understand how everything fits together. They want to affect change and make an impact, and they'll ask lots of why questions. They're accustomed to finding out why, and they're good at finding out why. They are not being difficult by asking those questions. And I've heard a lot of people say, oh, they ask so many questions, So don't fall into that trap. They're not being difficult. They're just trying to find out. So you'll need to be patient there with that. So clearly define your expectations. Millennials need detailed instruction about what you want, but let them determine how to get there and listen to their ideas. Allow this active involvement from them. They want to know that they have access to an open door to ask their questions, and this usually means that they will ask many questions. They want to have input. However, they're relatively inexperienced when they're first entering the workforce, and they need to know what is expected of them in terms of behaviour at work. So it's important that you're very clear about things like dress code or break times or using their phone at work or using social media at work. Set clear expectations, spell it out up front. Don't just be surprised when you see them on their phone all the time. That's what they've grown up with. So remember that you are teaching them how to be an employee. And I used to be a human resources manager in a professional services firm many years ago, and we used to do a lot of this preparation with our young staff. We had cadets coming in straight out of school and grads coming in out of uni, and we used to take them through programs where we taught them even social and dining etiquette, because they often needed to dine with clients, and we found that many of them just didn't know this stuff. They did not know about some of the things that we might take for granted, and they needed to know it to be able to do their job well. So think about that. You might need to be educating them at times around that too. Be flexible as much as possible with your Gen Ys. They're seeking flexibility in work hours and dress code, and they want to balance lifestyle and work with more focus on the lifestyle, right? So there are some organisations adopting what we call ROWE. It's called ROW, and this stands for a results-only work environment, where what's important is output or outcomes, and that is what you have to produce, so that the focus is on that in as long a time or as short a time as it takes. And Gen Ys love this sort of environment. And I'm actually pretty sure that this work methodology was started by a group of Gen Ys. So Gen Ys are eager to progress in their careers, but they're less willing to wait 3 to 5 years for a promotion, as I was saying earlier. So if you can develop in-between steps and titles which can meet their desire for career progression, you're much more likely to hold on to them. So be clear about your expectations though, and provide the training and experience that will aid them with career advancement opportunities through this stepping stone sort of approach. And this just might keep them a little bit longer in your organization. Wherever you can, create a relaxed work environment. Lots of our famous organizations like Google and Facebook do this. They use things like bright colors, open seating, personal touches and that sort of thing. And a relaxed environment does not mean an unproductive work environment. So introduce corporate social responsibility initiatives into your organisation. This is a generation that expects corporate social responsibility and won't like to work for or purchase products from organisations that are not socially responsible. So if the company encourages and allows time for social responsibility, they feel good about the company and what it stands for. And encourage a sense of team. Gen Ys like to work in teams. They actually crave belonging and fitting in with their tribe, so encourage that sense of team. Provide learning opportunities because they seek continuing learning and will take advantage of any training made available to them. They are less likely to seek managerial or team leadership positions that would compromise their life outside of work. Provide very regular praise and feedback because they want everything instantly. They want everything right now, that instant gratification. Now, some organisations use software like Yammer for this, where they can get that quick bursts of feedback online. Now, remember that millennial parents and teachers gave millennials lots of praise, as well as second, third, or even fourth chances at times. So as adults, they need the same thing from their employer. Now, because they're learning oriented, if they're doing something wrong, they want to know about it so that they can fix it and move on. They want to be told often that they're on the right track, and they want to be told often that they're doing a great job. So it's important that you coach them. They do need direction and supervision, but they do not respond well to the command and control style of leadership or being micromanaged. So they view their work as an expression of themselves, not as a definition of themselves. Their identity is not caught up in their work like the baby boomers I mentioned earlier around that. It's important to know that if you engage them, they will work hard. Engaged leadership is important to them. So set up specific and regular times to meet with them and supervise them. Demonstrate your sincere interest in their personal or professional growth and their success. But don't expect loyalty. Remember, these are the workers who will have at least 5 different careers, not just jobs, 5 different careers over their lifespan. Their tenure in a particular job is often no more than 2 or 3 years. So if you can adapt your style and apply these tips with your Gen Ys in your team or business, you'll get better results from them. Plus, you can encourage new, fresh ideas and ways of doing things, even new ways of connecting with your customers. They'll be forward. They'll be forward thinking around that. They'll be forthcoming with that as well. So do what you can to increase their length of stay with you, even if it's just by 1 year. That can make a big difference.